Jeff, and this is 5 Minute Murder. So we're going to talk about a killer today, and as you can see, I am not at home, not at my regular station, with all the stuff. There are heads here. We do not have our lady head in the jar, but I am in Parkersburg, West Virginia for Appalachian Paracon. And sorry, everybody that was waiting for an episode yesterday, but my phone took a shit on Wednesday. And so I was without a phone for like a day and a half and was not able to film anything. I actually got my phone on my way to Parkersburg at the T-Mobile store. So I have a new phone and lost all of my recordings and everything from the old phone. So yeah, the screen just died, so I had no LCD screen. And so it's really hard to smart switch your phone when you can't get into the phone because it doesn't work. So it was out. So I figured I would do one this morning, and you guys will have it up. I'll put it up there here shortly and try to edit some things so I can get the intro on, which I no longer have, and the outro, which will be great. I'll put that stuff on there. So anyway, we're going to do a 5-minute murder. And I selected somebody. I'm not sure if I've done them before, but if we haven't, we're going to do them again. So you might get an episode 2. All of you that watch me can tell me if I've done this guy before, but we're going to do it today because it's a fun one. And I'll show you why here in a second. So we're going to do old Ed Kemper. So 5-minute murder on Ed Kemper. Let me read the back. So Ed Kemper was born on December 18th, 1948. He's an American serial killer, serial rapist, cannibal, and necrophile who murdered 10 people, including his paternal grandparents and mother. He is noted for his height of 6 foot 9 inches tall and his high intellect, possessing an IQ of 145. He targeted young female hitchhikers during his killing spree, luring them into his vehicle and driving them to secluded areas where he would murder them before taking their corpses back to his home to be decapitated, dismembered, and violated. Kemper then murdered his mother and one of her friends before turning himself in to the authorities. He has been incarcerated at the California Medical Facility. So old Kemper, very, very interesting guy. When he was younger, killed both of his grandparents, right? And he killed his grandmother first. Obviously, always had an issue with women. And so he felt that his grandmother was so overbearing, just like his own mother. And so he killed his grandmother. And then because he was worried that his grandmother or his grandfather would be upset that she was dead, he killed him also. Shot him with a rifle. Was placed in a mental institution for some time. He was there. They gave him a clean bill of health and said that he was sane and released him to the care of his mother. Moves in with his mother, and now Ed, being in his, 20s, is there on a college campus. Mother is still very, very overbearing and constantly telling him that he'll never get a woman, he'll never find anybody that will ever love him. And kind of the same similar story to Anthony Perkins in Psycho, right? Very similar kind of thing. He had issues with his mother. And so he ends up going and killing co-eds on the college campus, picking them up. And it's interesting because when you listen to Kemper and he talks about himself, he's very, very open, very forthright with, who he is and what he did and why he did it, and providing explanations and insight into other killers. But he talks about how it was like a little thing, right? He would try little things. It wasn't just that he went and killed. So he would bring a knife with him. He'd pick up these girls. He would talk to them. He would see if he could get them into positions that would be compromising. And then the next time he would pick somebody up, he'd bring a gun with him. It would be unloaded, so he couldn't actually shoot anybody, but he just wanted to test it out. And then the next time he would bring a loaded gun, and then he had to kill. So it's fascinating that he would build that way. And we see that in a lot of killers, right? They build and they test little things out. They try it more and more, and until the event actually happens. Kemper also tells a story where he accidentally locked a gun in the trunk, and he ended up having one of the girls help him unlock the trunk. Now, this girl had no idea that he was going to kill her, And then he does, right? Just crazy, crazy stories. And of course, he felt like it was providence, right? That, that happened for a reason, and that he was fortunate that that happened. Of course, it was decidedly unfortunate for the girl that got killed. And Kemper would do weird things. Of course, he ate some of their flesh, so he was a cannibal, and he copped to that when he was in prison. But he would also like leave their heads on the stairs and put them in the garden so that they were always looking up at him. Not that they wouldn't be looking up at him anyway, because he's 6'9", but he had really weird things that he did. Of course, you get to the apex of the crime, and he kills his mother finally, who he really wanted to kill the whole time. And he kills his mother. He defiles her head. He cuts off her head. He tears out her larynx. He throws it in the garbage disposal, and he says something amazing to me. And he says, even after I put her larynx in the garbage disposal, I could still hear her talking to me. She still kept nagging at me. And you want to talk about some psychosis. Like, you think about that. You've obviously killed the woman, and you can't get her out of your head. But, it's interesting because we all experience that, right? I know I experience still to this day, like the negative, nasty shit that my mother said to me. Right? So I still hear it from time to time in the back of my head. You're not good enough. You'll never be anything. You're always going to fuck everything up. Right? You're not my son. Like, I hear all those things still to this day. My mom is 400 miles away from me right now. And we get along fairly well now, like when we talk and everything. But I still hear those things, and we all hear those things. I think it was different for Kemper, right? He had a different relationship with that. And that's a scary, scary place to be. And, he would then take his mother's head, he'd throw darts at it. When I mean he defiled it, he not sodomized, but he had sex with her neck. So he did all kinds of terrible things to defile his mother because of the way that she treated him. That doesn't make it right, but, you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you do. You just never know the intent of people. And so for some strange reason, he then decides to call up his mother's best friend and invite her over to the house the next day. And at that point, he had decided that for whatever reason, she needed to die as well. I wonder if it was very similar to the grandfather, that she felt like she would be heartbroken, so he wanted to end her too. I'm not sure. I don't know what this lady had any relation to Ed himself, but he ends up getting her over the house and he kills her as well. Then he leaves and he goes to Colorado, which is interesting because he starts off by running. But then he calls the police from Colorado and says, come and pick me up. I've killed my mother. And they don't believe him because he's been friends with the police, right? He used to go to the police bar. He used to hang out with them. He got to know them really well, and they liked Ed. He's a very likable guy. But then he does all of that, and he calls them, and they don't believe him. He calls them 3 times. And then they finally believe him and take him in to go check out the house, and they find the bodies. And I've always believed that the reason why Ed did that is because he knew that when they found his mother, he was done. It wasn't that he was going to run. He knew that he'd never be able to get away. How do you get away as a 6'9" guy? They're going to find you, right? You're a giant target. And so there was no way he was going to be able to hide. He knew that he was going back. And ever since, he's been very comfortable in prison. And he's a very interesting guy. He's done, he did children's books for a while. He would do the audio for the blind people and narrating books. He did Star Wars. He did a bunch of different things. And, now he's very, very sick, has had a stroke, and, is not long for this world. But, Ed Kemper is a crazy story. But one of those stories where, you better treat your kids right because they, at the end of your life, will hold you in the palm of their hand, right? So, be careful with the way that you interact because when you're in your golden years, they may remember all of those shit that you said, and it may not be good. So I wanted to show you guys this too, because it's really cool. Ed Kemper is also here at my booth at Appalachian Paracon. I've got old Ed. This is my buddy. I'm going to flip it around here. Old sick Rick Fisher, and one of his masks. This was a recent one that he did just a couple months ago. Ed Kemper. He's working on a Marshall Applewhite right now, which looks fantastic. Right before Ed Kemper, he did Eileen Wuornos. On the other side of my table, I've got old Richard Ramirez, but he's got all kinds of different designs in this. He's got one with a severed neck. But yeah, this old Ed Kemper sitting in my booth looking at everybody. It's kind of ironic right now that I have Ed Kemper at the booth and he's low, so he has to look up to everybody else instead of them looking up to him. I think it's just ironic, right? So kind of flip the script on old Ed. So we've got Ed here at the booth. We've got Ramirez at the other end of the booth. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for another 5-Minute Murder. Come and check us out at Appalachian Paracon. It's going to be a great day. We haven't even started yet. We start in about an hour, I think. 10 o'clock it opens up. And yeah, we'll be ready to rock and roll. It should be a good day. If you didn't get a chance, I did a Facebook Live on my talk on American mythology, the rise of the serial killer, yesterday. So go and check that out. It's on Facebook. You can watch it. It's about an hour long. But it was good. It was a good talk. And I am not speaking today, so I won't be going live today, at least not speaking. But also, go check out the book. There's me again in my finest with Beyond the Headlines, True Crimes, Myths, and Legends. It's going to be coming out in July, guys. Make sure you get a copy. Go and pre-order it on Amazon right now. It's like $2.99. And the ebook will be dropping on July 2nd. Along with the hardback and the paperback will all be dropping. I should be getting my advance copies this week. They just sent me the files for the final formatting. So I'm super excited. It looks incredible. And here's a little Easter egg. I noticed that the book is 211 pages. And so I asked if they could put 2 more pages in so we could get to 213 and be Dahmer's apartment number. I was sitting here at the booth yesterday and it like a lightning bolt had hit me. And I was like, holy shit, we could be Dahmer's apartment number. Dude, that'd be incredible in the book, right? So anyway, I'm curious how many people are going to get that haven't heard me say this and be like, oh my God, your book is 213 pages. It was not intentional, but it happened to be that way. And I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect, right? I feel like it's fate. Now I'm going to have to find like an apartment number of somebody else and do the second book on their number. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. But all right, thank you guys, and I will see you next time.
Number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my